All right, we are now on lesson 3, which are about rhombus, rhombi, and squares. We're going to start with the rhombus. And so a rhombus has all the things of a parallelogram. It's very similar. If you look at the picture, it looks like a normal parallelogram, but it has a few more features. Number 1, all 4 sides are congruent. Number 2, the diagonals are perpendicular. That means they cross at a 90-degree angle. And then another thing is that diagonals bisect opposite angles. And that's kind of confusing. I'll show you. Diagonals bisect opposite angles. Okay. And I'm going to go down to this example 1 and just show you what all of that means. So first of all, because these diagonals cross at 90 degrees, those are all 4 right angles there in the center. And then, let's see, we know this side, those 2 parts are equal, these 2 parts. It's not like a rectangle where they're all 4 equal. That's not true for a rhombus. But the part about the angles is that this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle, all of those 4 are the same, and these 4 are the same. And then we also know that all 4 sides are the same. So if we look here, JK is 12, which means ML is 12, and this one is 12, and this one is 12, right? And JN is 7. So let's answer our questions. JM, 12. JL, that one would be 14. MN, this one is not 7. In a rhombus, not all the diagonals are the same, just the ones that we marked. But we do have a 90-degree angle. So we're going to use Pythagorean theorem again to find MN. Remember, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 7 squared plus b squared equals 12 squared. This is 49 plus b squared equals 144. If I subtract 49 from both sides, I get b squared equals 95. And then if I take the square root, we get b equals 9.7. So MN is 9.7. So that means that MK is going to be 19.4, because 9.7 times 2 gives me MK. So take a minute, let all that soak in. And I know all of that, the angles and stuff, didn't have anything to do with this question. That was just a good picture for me to draw those in there. But take a minute, look at all of that. Make sure you understand where we got those side lengths. All right, number 2 EF is 23. DF is 40. So if the entire DF is 40, that means this is 20, this is 20. And then that means all of these outsides are 23. So GF, that's 23. HF, we said was 20. GH, we don't have that one, but we have a 90-degree angle, so we can do Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus 20 squared equals 23 squared. Remember, your hypotenuse always has to be your C, so the one across from the 90-degree angle. A squared plus 400 equals 529. And if I subtract, I get a squared equals 129. And then we need to take the square root to get a equals 11.4. So GH is 11.4, which means that GE is going to be 22.8. Number 3. RT is 22. So that means we have 11 and 11. US is 18. So that means we have 9 and 9. So VT is 11. UV is 9. RS, RS, we don't know. We're going to have to do Pythagorean theorem. This time we don't have the hypotenuse. We don't have the C. So we do 11 squared plus 9 squared equals C squared. 11 squared plus 9 squared is 202. And then if we take the square root, we get 14.2 equals C. So RS is 14.2, which means that ST is also 14.2, because all four sides are the same. All right, number 4, we start getting into some angles. So I'm going to color code. And remember, all of these on the inside are 90. All right, so I'm going to mark before I go down to the bottom. For me, it's easier just to look at my picture first. So this would be 38, 38, 38. And then for the pink, I have a triangle. And we know that in a triangle, all 3 angles add up to 180. So for the pink, 180 minus 90 minus 38 is 52. So 52, 52, 52. All right, so we're just going to go in and write these angle measures. 1 and 2 are both 52. 3 and 4 and 5 are 38. 6 and 7 are both 52. And 8 is 90 degrees. Let's move on here. ZY, 34, which means that all of these are 34. WY is 38, which means that 19 and 19. Angle ZXY is 34. This is 90. So this is 34 degrees. We have 34 degrees, 34 degrees. And then this other angle we can find by taking 90 minus, or 180, sorry, minus 90 minus 34. And we get 56. So 56, 56, 56. And I'm going to take a wild guess and say I'm probably going to have to find this other side, this other diagonal. So I'm going to go on and do that because I can guarantee I'm probably going to have to. So we're going to do 19 squared plus b squared equals 34 squared. Pythagorean theorem. 361 plus b squared equals 1156. If I subtract 361 from both sides, we get b squared equals 795. And then if I take the square root, I get b equals 28.2. So this side is 28.2, and this side is 28.2. And now, hopefully, I have everything I need to answer those questions. Let's start with WZ, 34. VY, 19. ZV, 28.2. ZX, I would need to take 28.2 and multiply that by 2 to get 56.4. WXZ, 34 degrees. We're looking at angles now. Angle WVZ, that's a 90-degree angle. Angle ZYW, that's one of our 56 degrees, our blue ones. And angle XYW, that one's 56 degrees. The reason why I like to go to the picture first and mark everything is because sometimes the order that the questions come in is not a good order. Like you may have to find something else before you can answer the questions in that order. So I like doing all of my side work, and you may not like that. You may like to go with the questions, and that's fine, perfectly fine too. It's whatever you prefer on that. All right, we're gonna move on to squares. And so squares, oh, this should say squares. Oh no. Squares have all of the properties of a parallelogram, rectangle, and rhombus. It's all of them. And so some things about squares. First of all, is that all four sides are the same. You probably already knew that. You probably already realized that all angles are 90 degrees. Now these diagonals, all four of these little pieces are the same. These are 90 degrees. And then the big one is that each of these angles are 45 degrees, because we know that they started out as 90 and the diagonal cuts them in half. So all of these are 45. 45 degrees. I think squares, I think that one's the easiest one out of all of them. All right. So angle ABC, or not angle, sorry, square ABCD. And we know that side AD is 11, which means they're all these sides are going to be 11. So BC is 11. AC. All right, so AC is a little harder to find because we're going to have to do Pythagorean theorem. Here's my triangle. Let's do Pythagorean theorem to find AC. 11 squared plus 11 squared equals, let's just call that C squared. 11 squared and 11 squared is 242. And then if I take the square root of that, I get 15.6. So the entire AC is 15.6, which means that each one of these little guys is 7.8. So AC is 15.6. BD is also 15.6. EC is 7.8. Angle DAB, DAB, is 90 degrees. Angle AEB, that's this one here in the center, which we know is 90 degrees. CBD, that's one of the smaller ones, which is 45 degrees. And BAC is also 45 degrees. Moving on to number 7. TR is 17, which means that all of these are 17. So in order to find the side of the triangle, I'm going to have to do, guess what? Pythagorean theorem. 17 squared plus 17 squared equals C squared, which would be 578 equals C squared. If I take the square root, we get 24 equals C. So all the sides of the triangle are 24. So let's answer the questions. PR would be 34 because 17 and 17 is 34. QS, 34. QT, 17. PQ, 24. Angle PRS, 45. On squares, and when you're doing angles, you have a 50-50 shot. It's either going to be 45 or 90. STR, 90 degrees. That's one of the inside ones. PSR is 90 degrees. Angle QPR is 45 degrees. I know this is becoming a long video, but we only have 4 questions left, so let's get to them. What just happened? Oh, there they are. All right, we have a rhombus, and a rhombus, we know that all 4 sides are equal. So I can set those 2 expressions equal to each other. (9x minus 77) equals 3x plus 7. Going to subtract the 3x. And that becomes 6x minus 77 equals 7. Add 77 to both sides. 6x equals 84. And then if we divide by 6, we get x equals 14. Now the question asks for MP, which is one of the sides. So I'm going to take 9 times 14 minus 77. And that gives me 49. Number 9, again we have a rhombus, and remember in a rhombus, all of these angles that I'm coloring in purple are equal, and so are these that I'm coloring in blue. So that means that these expressions I can set equal to each other. So 5x plus 1 plus 8x minus 20. Oh, no. They're equal to each other, sorry. So subtracting 5x from both sides gives me 1 equals 3x minus 20. Then adding 20 to both sides gives me 21 equals 3x. Dividing by 3 gives me 7 equals x. So that can help me find the measure of angle, this angle right here, DFE. 8 times 7 minus 20. Right. So 8 times 7 minus 20 is 36. So this one right here is 36, which means this is 36. Which means that total we have 72. So this total angle right here is 72. And if you think back to parallelograms, this angle and this angle, they're not equal to each other. One's acute and one's obtuse. They are supplementary. So they're consecutive angles, and consecutive angles, if you look back at our list, are supplementary. So I can say that the measure of angle FED would be 180 minus 72. Because I'm going to take 180 minus this entire angle. 180 minus 72 is 108 degrees. Right, 2 more. Thank you for staying alive during this such a wonderful, interesting video. All right, we have a square. SW is 2x plus 13. WU is 8x minus 41. We know that those two are equal to each other. So 2x plus 13 equals 8x minus 41. If we subtract 2x from both sides, we get 13 equals 6x minus 41. And then if we add 41 to both sides, get 54 equals 6x. Dividing by 6 gives me 9 equals x. The question is asking for VT, which really is the same as SU. They're the same. So I'm first going to find SW. 2 times 9 plus 13. That's 31. So 31, that means this is 31, 31, 31. So VT is 2 times 31, which is 62. Last question. All right, and this is a quick one. All right, it tells us right here we have a square. You know what this specific angle measures. You know that it measures 45 degrees. So I'm going to set 7x plus 3 equal to 45. Subtract 3 from both sides. 7x equals 42. And divide by 7, we get x equals 6. Wonderful job. Thanks for staying awake and dealing with this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. It's always a good idea to go back and rewind and rewatch examples that you may have missed or got a little confused on. Sometimes just seeing it a second time makes all the difference.